All right. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, just sitting here drinking my morning coffee, looking sexy as hell as usual. I wake up with my people here, so bear with me, guys. We don't get a lot of traffic sometimes the first few minutes. So, for people who chime in after, this might seem a little slow, but you can always scroll through to where the real conversations start. Once the morning crew get in here, it picks up a little bit. But I tend to do other posting and typing with clients and people while I'm in here doing these because I run these a long time, wake up with people, and I multitask so I can kind of justify the time with it. So I will be back and forth doing other stuff while chatting with everybody here. So yeah, you'll wake up with everyone, but it takes a minute to get people in. I'm hoping the algo helps with these a little more that I'm not doing a lot of informative videos. I've just got 60 of them sitting. I can upload at any time. But as it stands, the live streams and the shorts and the vlogs are really what do the best on my channel at this point. My own training vlogs. People don't care at all about the client vlogs. They're almost fan service at this point, right? Like no one watches the client vlogs anymore because I don't have a bunch of women on them. Although some of the guys had really high views. People loved Mike. They loved Mikey. Those used to get thousands. Not really a big deal. So we'll chat with you people here, do a little bit of posting as we go. All right. And yeah. Yep. But as soon as we get regulars in, it picks up. Once the regular people realize we're in a coffee chat, it gets lively in here. Some mornings, some more so than others. Hit that like as soon as you guys get in, though. Also, let me put the Amazon wish list just in case. Not that often that people buy stuff off of it, but they do. And then I get a tub of protein here or there, some coffee. Hey AJ, I don't even remember that video honestly now. I did. That got asked in here the other day, and I broke it down very, very clearly. Also, some of it's just some common sense, right? So let's set all that aside. You want to know why not? Because not all prisoners have access to weights or gain muscle. But why do some guys get pretty jacked there? Number one, what do they have access to if they have weights? Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, junk food. Like this is the problem. A lot of these younger dudes act like um, they're eating for gains, and they're not. Food definitely one of them. They have balanced meals with lots of carbohydrates and whole food, right? They get nutritious meals where a dietitian has had to look at the meal planning usually. Might be bland, people might not like it, but they get decent nutrition. That's pretty high on the list, right? Number one. Number two, what they have access to in the yard if they train. They have barbells and dumbbells. You don't think that makes a difference? All this goofball, silly machine and nonsense training dudes do these days is giving them less muscle growth. Right? Yep. That's a factor. Yeah. Got to remember, man, I have like 18,000 videos on this channel. I'm not going to remember every video. So don't. I always tell guys, if you bring up an old video, don't assume I know what I said in it. That would be a very bad assumption. Especially if you go, oh, he made this 8 years ago, 12 years ago, 13 years ago. It's like, yeah, I have 18,000 videos. So context. I've done fake natty video on someone before 12 years ago, and someone goes, you remember this guy? I'm like, I have no idea who they are. It's like, but you made a video on them. I'm like, I have no idea who they are. No clue. Can't even remember them, So, but the equipment's a big factor, right? they're forced to actually train because of what they have available. They can't just goof off on the machine. All right. Number 3, forced sleep time. Lights out. They're going to get 8 hours of sleep. Right? They're not up playing video games. They're not up goofing off till 1 in the morning. I mean, that alone, those 3 factors, 5 times as much muscle growth right there versus the way a lot of dudes try to do stuff. Like that's an enormous difference. Those are game changers. Actually getting proper nutrition with plenty of decent carbohydrates and some vegetables in there, all free weights, sleeping 8 hours a night, which is funny because you would think this would be common sense. You would think every person who gets up and says, I want to gain some muscle, would just automatically do those things. No, AG, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. No one ever does. Okay. I make fun of people for saying that. Just an FYI, I'm about to troll the hell out of you. I'm about to troll you hard. Dude, I've made fun of dudes in person. I've started laughing at them and just clown the hell out of them. So you ready? First off, nobody only does one cycle. Stop lying to me. Stop lying to yourself. Nobody does just one cycle. You're delusional if you think you're going to go do one cycle and just stop. If you even think that that's possible, you're either delusional or you're a liar. Which one is it? Number 2, how much research have you done on steroids? Okay. So you're going to inject a drug into your body that you haven't spent several years researching. You haven't spent years looking at forums, looking at groups, talking to people, and you about to pull up a syringe and just start injecting it into your body every week. How much do you know about anabolics and how they actually work? Okay. Have you built a base yet? Have you built a base? So what was the standard from my generation? Keep in mind, I'm 48. And again, I'm going to point this out, as I've said, Tony Hughes is a piece of shit. Don't listen to anything he says. All right. When I was coming up, and I'm not the only person to say this, I've literally, if you remember Mark Lobliner, we're not even friends, said in a video over 10 years ago, Jason Blaha is absolutely right. I had the exact same experience and it's identical numbers. The culture was the same. He and I are like the same age, right? All the way up in Ohio, they had the same culture in Texas. Everybody had the same rule in the gear world. Everybody. So in Ohio, he confirmed they had the same rule that we had, except that I said they made fun of you. He said they beat your ass. They took you out back and beat you. I said they just made fun of you and called you a pussy and you were laughed at if you didn't follow the rules. That's the only difference in this story. He says up there they beat you. All right, you know the rule. You don't do your first cycle till you can bench 3 plates, squat 4 plates, and deadlift 5 plates. Anybody who didn't reach those numbers before they did their first cycle was made fun of back in the day. Like, you didn't do that natural before you jumped on, you were clowned. In every group, it was the same rule for everybody, dude. It didn't matter if you were a white dude, black dude, Hispanic dude, all the same. All the lifting circles all had the same rule. Yes, I did that before. I did some of it for reps. I was repping 405 on the squat. Like I was squatting up in the 400s and the gym bros took me to the side and said, "Hey man, come over here. We're going to help you out." You know, one of those conversations. It was a different world. See, we didn't have smartphones, didn't exist, so people weren't on their phones at the gym. Then I went to old school iron gym. So the gym bros took me to the side and said, "Hey man, let's have a talk. We're over here. We're going to help you out." So, yeah, but I'm not blasting gear. So I'm 48 on a replacement dose of testosterone, and I'm only a little stronger. I'm maybe 10% stronger, about 10% than when I did my first cycle in my 20s. But I'm not blasting. I'm on a replacement dose. So my testosterone right now is about the same as it was in my early 20s on the replacement dose. I mean, I'm on a pretty hefty replacement dose from the doctor. Yeah. So yeah, I'm about 10% stronger than when I started using originally did my first cycle. About 10%. I think that's fair. What do you mean? I mean, everybody did. That's just how it works, dude. No, I don't regret it at all, someone. Because I was bigger and stronger than I would have ever been natural at certain points in my life. I don't regret it. It's a choice I made. I'm not telling you to do it. But I mean, at the very least, I think those rules are reasonable. AJ, that permanent could take years. So all the studies that found that permanent growth was for people who were on for several years straight, pretty much. You don't get that from one cycle. But I will go back to that same point of I don't think dudes should be thinking about a cycle. 21 should be the minimum age. You shouldn't even be considering it before 21. But I do hold to that rule that I don't think dudes who can hit the 3, 4, 5 plate lifts have any business doing a cycle. It shouldn't even be on their radar, honestly. It's just lazy and cheating at that point. And I'm just calling it's just lazy cheating. And I'm not against gear, but there's a point where it's like, dude, you didn't build a base, you know. Build a base first, guys. Like, don't just jump in. Also, hit that like button, guys. Why do we not have likes? I'm about to get some coffee. I'll be right back. All right. Just joined. Where's Coach? I'm back strong as hell. We were just having that conversation about minimum strength back in the day before dudes could be considering a cycle. Yeah, you're right. I'm only considering it because I'm lazy. It's Tony Huge's approach to work smarter, not harder. He's influencing people to take gear. All right. Exactly. This is a good status though. Hold on, we're gonna make a status of the Facebook. All right, hold on. Let's go, guys. I'm making a status real quick. One of the coaches was going on today. We were talking about people using gear before they built the base, and my generation, it was a complete problem. But yeah, really, when we can get too muscular naturally, no, it's impossible. Yes, I still ran. I ran yesterday. I don't know which. I just put her on full body. Put her on full body 3 days a week. Yeah, I still run barefoot. All right, give me a second here, guys. And then I'll be back with you. What do we got here? I did that at 25. I regret it now. Huh. Notice any significant benefits to doing? Yeah, your feet and ankles are way stronger. I mean, Chris Duffin sold me on the barefoot squatting many years ago. He's straight up right. Yeah, taking care of that, building a strength base first. Yeah, it's a problem, man. It's interesting that I mentioned prison being optimal, but the jail I went to, it wasn't. I think jail is different. What does it feel like? What do you think, Solon? Hey, Solon, do you think sticking a 1.5-inch needle in your butt cheek and putting a couple milliliters of oil, do you think you feel anything? What would be your guess? All right. I mean, like, what? No, you realize it takes like 24 hours before it even shows up on your bloodstream, right? Russian power. I hope you're kidding. No, dude. AJ, I am literally on testosterone. I'm on a replacement dose of testosterone. Did you hear me say anything else? So if a person says, like let's say someone, whatever they drink, right? They say, I have one beer per week. And then you say, what about wine? And they say, the only alcohol I drink is one beer per week. Well, what about whiskey? What about a second? But you see what I mean? So I don't know what's so confusing. I say that I get asked, you're not the only person to do that. Well, what else? What do you take for ancillaries? I'm like, right, let me start over. My entire drug stack is a replacement dose of testosterone cypionate. That's my entire stack. That's all of my drug. That's my entire drug, every drug that I'm on, even for headaches. Like I mean, maybe one day strong. What would happen? Why would we not do that? That would be silly. Good morning. It's like we're talking about testosterone today. You don't have to be in here for this. Yeah, all women have testosterone. Hey, Dad, did you know that women have to have testosterone too? That in fact, if they don't, then they don't have a sex drive or anything either. Like it goes away. If they're testosterone deficient, they have all sorts of problems. Just like men have a little bit of estrogen. If your estrogen goes too low as a man, you're going to have problems. A little biology. AJ, propaganda for what? AJ, man, I feel like you don't spend enough time reading some basic science, bro. What do you mean propaganda? So all the scientists who study this and endocrinologists in the world who've been producing data on this, what would be the reason for this propaganda? I mean, it's to the point where millions and millions of dollars are being used to study why. It's not just a question of that it's happening. Like there's money being spent in why. You know the number, what they've concluded the two biggest causes are in order. Number one, obesity. Being fat. We're fat, that's why. Then behind that would be environmental toxins like microplastics. Yeah. Strong. Actually, when I had clinically low testosterone, I was able to have sex just fine. So when my levels came back under 300 nanograms per deciliter, I was sexually active. Like I had a girlfriend and we had sex just fine. But the problem is my cortisol and everything, because I have an autoimmune condition. My cortisol and stuff goes way up. For thousands of years, no one took hormone. Hey, Solon, and what's your point? You make this sound like hopefully you're saying that is a negative thing, right? That really sucks. They also didn't have air conditioning. I think sex testosterone is too high. That's why she's so angry. I don't think she's that angry. She doesn't come across as angry, man. Junk food lowering, and indirectly, yeah. Hey, Solon, I'm not going to go into the specifics of my personal life and all my medical, but no, not really. And why would we, Solon? You make it sound like TRT is a bad thing. Like is there a natural way? Like who cares? Like TRT is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like it is. I would argue in terms of for middle-aged and older men, the normalizing of TRT is one of the greatest things we've done as a society. Like it's up there, dude, in terms of quality of life. Like I am super, super pro TRT. You may not have realized that. Like, let me be clear. I am extremely pro TRT. So let me be clear of my official position. Anyone who's anti-TRT is anti-men's health and hates men. If you're a man who's against TRT, you hate men. Deep down, just admit you hate men, and you're against men's health. And I that's really my position. I honestly believe that it's an anti-male position, that you hate men's health and you want men to have low quality of life. I can't see any other motivation for being against it personally. The only one that makes any sense to me. So either you're a militant feminist or on some level you despise men subconsciously and think that and are opposed to men's health. So maybe it's a self-loathing. So like in my case, my cortisol is double the reference range all the time on blood work when I had it tested for my testosterone. But I also have an autoimmune condition. And testosterone drops it all the way into the normal range, like immediately, like within a week. So, all right. Yeah, birth control is fine, but TRT is shamed, right? But it's not really shamed. Most people are strange. A friend who claims to need an AA on true TRT doses. Does it sound right? I would think if your test is in a range you're into. How fat is he? Strong? Hey, Solon. So you're anti-men. Are you like a militant feminist? I don't understand your position. Most men, yeah, they all do. What are you talking about? Most of the dudes I know over 40 are on TRT. What are you talking about? The majority. What culture do you live in? That's going to be a real question. Let's see, go to channel. I'm going to see if we can figure out more about this channel. So, what country, ethnicity, and socioeconomic background do you come from? So I can understand where you're coming from. Because I'm telling you, middle class and up white males where I live is pretty normal. It's pretty normal, dude. And I personally I'm all for it. Because you can't argue with him because he's arguing a feminist man. Right. Yeah. No, I think TRT is great. It's also pretty valuable at that point for a happy marriage and everything too. Keeps your sex life great. Keeps your mindset great. Good stuff. Yeah, that's right. He's typing with a disrespectful tone. You tell him, Dad. You tell him. So why have you decided at 50? What if you don't qualify at 50? What if you needed it 38, Big Rob? That seems like a very strange position. So you're telling me, let's say you're 38 and you go get your testosterone tested and it comes back at 250 nanograms per deciliter. You're going to wait 12 years? You're going to sit there with that testosterone for 12 years while you wait to turn 50. So what happens if you turn 50 and it's at 700? Are you still going to do TRT to just replace the same amount you're already producing? So I don't understand. No, I don't understand your position. So you're telling me that you're not going to base it upon what your testosterone is at versus where you want it to be. You're going to base it upon an age number. And I'm telling you, so that doesn't make a lot of sense. So if your testosterone is low when if you go get it tested at 38 and it's low, you're going to wait 12 years. So you're going to suffer with low testosterone for 12 years because you're not 50 yet, instead of just having a higher quality of life. That doesn't make sense to me. But, and then the same token, what happens if you have really high testosterone when you're 50? Are you still going to do TRT when you turn 50, even though you'll have no benefit from it? You're just going to take a shot for no benefit. Like, that doesn't make sense either. I personally think you should base it upon where your testosterone levels are versus where you think they should ideally be. And that's the latter parts of discussion between you and your doctors. But, I'm just saying, I think that should be the deciding factor, not an arbitrary age. Now, what I have a problem with in the industry is all these people who they all obsess over trying to optimize testosterone production to do things that are not going to help. There's whole channels and other people just dedicated to, boost your test. And I'm like, go to your doctor, get a shot. This is an easy solution. Yeah. Solon went and looked it up. I knew you were going to do that. Did you notice that I was very specific? Might want to go find an socioeconomic breakdown for that. Go find out what percentage of men who are in the top 10% income bracket over 40 take it. You'd be like, wow, it's like 70%. Yeah. Why do you think that is? I met a millionaire who said when he started doing TRT, he did it because his business improved. He was more focused at work. His sex drive went up. His business improved. He started making extra $500,000 a year. All right. Ryan says, I could never stop taking TRT, my mental drug, right? But that's not doing gear. Solon, TRT is not the same thing. Okay. I think you misunderstanding the topics. You do realize nobody in the steroid world considers TRT to be steroids, right? Just an FYI. Okay. You do know this, right? Literally nobody who uses gear in the bodybuilding or powerlifting or steroid world considers TRT to be doing a cycle. And it shouldn't be. It's just silly. What's your favorite accessory lift to help deadlift speed off the floor? So in the RTAR, yeah. Anything that gets your quads stronger. I mean, a low block pull, a low rack pull, anything that builds quads, squats, front squats, leg press. How old are you, Solon? No, I asked him all those other questions. He wouldn't answer it. I asked him what's all his demographic. Big Rob says root. You got to say it. You got to say it root like Bonquiqui. Excuse me, security. All right. All right. She's funny. I always make people laugh. I busted out with that in the middle of stuff, and everybody laughs who knows this skit. And be like, You got to get a critter gel. It's the best thing for your nail. I'm 50, I feel fine. I use a juicer. Why do you use a juicer? Why are you throwing away the pulp, man? Why are you throwing away the pulp, Solon? That's all. It's got all the fiber. A lot of your phytonutrients, man. I don't drink juice. I eat fruit. Eat a whole cantaloupe every day right now. Right. You guys got to work on your nutrition. Hey, Solon, that is a juicer will fix my cortisol from an autoimmune issue. That is the single most butt fucking retarded thing I think I'm going to read this entire day. There we go. I got to drop one cuss word in here that won't hurt the stream. They don't like you to use the F word multiple times. We already know carnivores are morons. I don't like pineapple personally. Yeah, I just don't care for pineapple a lot. It's one of the fruits I don't like that much. I don't like the texture of it. For some reason, I've never liked it. Any sort of melons, any sort of berry. Cantaloupe, watermelon, those are top. Ever tried Tajin? I don't even know who she is. She sounds exotic though. What's up? All right. Big Rob, please ask for this. Dragon fruit. You can get my rant about dragon fruit. Let's talk about a disappointment, right? You see this dragon fruit, right? We're talking about fruits. Actually, we were talking about Taja, the exotic lady in the fruit. That's what he mentioned. All right, let's talk about dragon fruit, though. This is my rant. Someone who's had dragon fruit. Let's talk about a disappointment. If you look at that thing, you look at that like, wow, man, this thing is going to be crazy good. It's going to have all sorts of flavor. It's like has this big, exotic, crazy look to it, right? It's like you get all excited when you get a dragon fruit and then you eat it. And it's like crunchy water. There's like almost no flavor. It's like, really? This is a disappointment. Like, I'm quite frankly disappointed in dragon fruit. Dragon farm has gone downhill these days in recent years. A heavy squat or deadlift day, what foods do you eat to replenish your body? Same foods I eat a heavy squat or deadlift day. That's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, by the way, Jared. Jared, I literally rep out 500 plus pounds on the deadlift every single lifting workout. So that's a normal day for me. Chicken, brown rice, broccoli. There you go. Finish your body. Worried about EJ. He was in here last night. Don't worry about it, man. Hey, Strong, I don't discuss any personal experiences like that. I'm just saying that I know a little bit about this lab, and they've gone downhill, underdosing, extreme hip. Just saying. These are the things that I've heard. I've even had some people who, at least someone I know of, they bought some of their stuff and got nothing. Like, it was just nothing in it. So setting aside their gear, I knew a bro a couple years back who got some of their Clen, and he's like, it was just sugar pills. There is no Clen in it, I'm sure of it. And that's not something that you're going to not notice, being that it's a stimulant. Just an FYI. Oh man, they're going to be pissed at me. I sent a live stream. I said that could go everywhere. People be like, oh my God, Blaha said that. No one's going to care. It's only 12 people watching. Is cleanse stronger than coffee? Is a pharmaceutical stimulant stronger than coffee? Is a FDA regulated prescription drug stronger than coffee? I'm going to say yes. Yeah. There's been way too much gear talk though, guys. This is not good for the algo. So let's go on some other topics. I'm going to get some more coffee. I think that's what Coachino needs to do. I'll be right back. All right. There we go. Get them likes up. So Solon deleted his message. What did he say? You guys let me know. What sort of crazy nonsense did he just post? He's tricksy. You got to watch him. Give me a second. I got to make a post. So then you're on thin ice. What are you training today? I think I'm going to take the day off from squats just to make sure my low back is recovered. So it's going to be full body. So it's going to be obviously bench and deadlift because I normally squat, bench, and deadlift every workout. Then I'm probably going to do some inclines, some pull-ups, some curls, overhead pressing laterals. I might do some dumbbell rows. I'm debating. What is the best way to increase flexibility in my hamstrings? I can't even touch my toes. Stretch position movements, Romanian deadlifts. Good mornings. Yeah, go to bed, Dad. Have a good night. Those will help you, Jared. But just wait. Any hip hinging movements, hell, even deadlifts will improve it over time. All right. You probably have a desk job. You either drive or you have a desk job. That usually explains the lack of it. Is this stream what? I mean, I'm fine with gay people. Not particularly transformer friendly. I mean, to each their own, but it's like just don't push them on other people. Yeah. I just don't expect us to, comply. Yeah. So Jared, that would explain it. It's the sitting all day. It's very common for both of those demographics to have super tight hamstrings. So you're going to have to just do more hip hinge movements. Yeah. I mean, I could have rants on that topic, but I'd rather not. I don't think it's necessary for me to. I have my own thoughts on the mental illness aspect of it and really taking advantage of vulnerable mentally ill people and mutilating them. Um, you know, but I digress. Hip hinge. So think, you have a squat hinge continuum with lower body movements. So a more extreme version of a hip hinge, you're going to have to look this up, Solon. This is basic. This is like saying a vertical press versus a horizontal press. We're over at very basic movement patterns. So hip hinging, right? So a Romanian deadlift or a good morning would be the more extreme end of the hip hinge continuum, right? The squat to hinge continuum. Because even a squat has a little bit of hip hinge in it. I think this throws people off. They don't grasp this. Sometimes that it's not an A and a B, it's a continuum between the two, or a spectrum, so to speak. Let's discuss outdoor activities and sports, hiking and hunting. I've done a lot of discussion of hunting in these chats. I don't hunt anymore, but I grew up hunting. So, what sort of hunting? Hunting is a wide variety of activities that are barely related, to be fair. But we can totally talk about it. What sort of hunting are we talking about? Gotta hunt those wild, huh? That's not even hunting, honestly, Big Rob. I haven't had mine tested in a while. Check it. I mean, you could simply go to Google and find ideal. Like you don't need me to give you basic medical advice because I don't have the exact ideal memorized. I could go off memory or I could just go look it up. It would actually be easier this early before I say something like 120 over 80. Let's go look it up. Ideal blood pressure. Systolic less than 120, diastolic less than 80. So anything. So yeah, I said 120 over 80 is kind of so ideal is anything less than that, right? So I hit the number right on, but I called it at what it's supposed to be anything less than the number that I called, right? Big Rob, the feral hogs, it was more of pest control. It almost wasn't hunting. They're really just a nuisance animal that we wipe out. I don't eat them. I've killed over 50 of them, and I will never eat one of those revolting things. Rufio, I thought you were a good poster. Why are we even talking about Big Lenny? Man, I'm going to put Big Lenny in the filter. I'm just quite frankly tired of this freak being mentioned in my live streams, honestly. Maybe it just needs to go in the spam filter. Like, do you people not? I don't, not even a fan, and I know more about him than you people. Like, he destroyed his body. He lived in a pile of disgusting filth and squalor. Did you guys not see some of the little bit of videos that you saw of his home? He lived in disgusting filth and squalor by his own choice. And you're going to uplift this like, that's revolting. Did you not see these videos? He lived in a pile of squalor, like just piles of garbage and rotten shit all over his house. Like, and then you guys want to uplift him. Like, it's like, what's wrong with you people? Like, this is a very, very mentally ill person, you know. Again, destroyed his own body, the massive palumboism and everything. So I just don't understand this obsession. Good morning, Bro Sidon, King of the Broshin. What's up, bro? You using one of my lines, Caleb? Bro Sidon, King of the Broshin. So I don't understand the obsession by so-called fitness people. I really don't. You guys have seen my home. Do I live in a pile of squalor? So context, watch the couple of reels you've seen of the inside of my house. I had like 20 of those when I was a kid selling the Lone Wolf books. I know exactly what they are. Yeah, I played all of them all the way through. I don't think he was ever taken seriously. He was certainly but he wasn't. Only a little tiny fringe of strange weirdos ever. Like, no, he's not. He was never iconic in the fitness world or enigmatic. No, I didn't play Witcher. I didn't play a lot of different video games. I played a couple of video games, handful, quite a bit, and then I quit. But to see the fact that all these people know all this stuff, and it's just like, I'm just shocked that people really discuss this as in the fitness world and expect me to take you guys as anything but weird. Like, I just don't get it. You know, it's just weird. So put into perspective the difference. Review. Look at the reel you've seen of the inside of my house, right? No, I'm not being harsh. I saw his home, the way that he lived. And then keep in mind, he destroyed his own body. Well, I have a lot of house and not a huge amount of furniture. You know, I have that big rug. I have my big sectional sofa and stuff in there. But, you know, I don't have a lot of decorations on the walls, but why do I need them? My office and my garage are the most full areas. I'm in my bedroom, same way. I mean, I have a TV and a king size bed and a nightstand. Like, do I need anything else in my bedroom? I have a walk-in closet, so it's not like I need to have other stuff in there. Like, my master bedroom closet is like half the size of this office. Yeah. I don't like plant. I'm not a plant person. I don't garden. I hate gardening. Lenny didn't have no. Jesus Christ, guys. But make the note My house is relatively clean. You didn't see trash. You didn't see dirty dishes, right? I mop my floor. You know? I actually sweep and mop in my house. I vacuum the rug. I have a couple of rugs, but I vacuum the rugs. You know, Lenny lived in a pile of revolting squalor. And chose to live that way. I'm sorry, I've got a problem with that. Then we take all the ladyboy obsession, destroyed his body with whatever is happening with that Palumboism. No, this is wow. And people want to hate on me. I have a pretty cool vacuum now. Hold on, let's talk about cleaning. Set in gun mode right now, right? Like Dyson. I need to clean that out. All right. Good point. I don't know of any YouTubers who've moved to Thailand because we're talking about music. They're talking about Big Lenny, and I'm like, why are you people propping this guy up as positive? Let's, all the crazy stuff, and then when we saw the inside of his home, I just can't. Like, I just can't. Well, Leo died. Well, we know Leo was a closet case. Like, we already know this, right? It was very obvious that his wife was a beard. Tony, you the same thing. So if they're moving to Thailand, they're probably into ladyboys. They're probably a bunch of perverts. You know. Yeah. Dysons are good vacuums though, man. Can't knock it to you. Yeah, how about I not try it? Um, you know, who died? There's multiple dead people being discussed music. You're gonna have to narrow it down. You talking about Leo? Or you talking about Lenny? They're both dead. Yeah, Rob, I can totally knock it. I am not interested in banging a lady boy. Sorry, dude. It's a hard pass for me. It's the Pinor that's the problem. You know, just not my bag. I mean, to each their own. That's what floats your boat. I never have, but maybe it's the. Why would it be? It doesn't even make sense. Doesn't even make sense. Okay, I'm going to assume you've had sex with women, so objectively speaking, even on a woman, there's one hole that is better than the other, and it's not the rear one. I get it, there's taboo and other stuff involved, but realistically, you guys all know at the end of the day, the vajaja feels better than the booty. So, what exactly is it that you think these lady boys have to offer? I don't know what that means. Bapping. Normal memes. I'm gonna have to go look this up. The art of taking a piece of fruit and throwing it extremely hard at the wall, exploding the fruit and leaving a nasty stain on the wall. Driving aimlessly with the lads, usually at night, with a crappy car with loud music playing. Waking someone up using breast as a slapping, but there's too many definitions. I'm going to need you. Urban Dictionary is not being helpful here. I saw a friend. I don't know, Jared. Some guy asked me, what do I think of bapping? And I had to Urban Dictionary it. And there's too many definitions. All right. Exactly. Sorry, Jared. I saw a friend dead from heart failure, mostly from methamphetamine addiction. Yeah, that'll do it. I don't know, man. He didn't define it. So I saw like 5 different definitions. You know, I could go with the one of being woke up with a boob slap, though. As long as it's from a chick, I don't want some fat dude slapping me with his boob to wake me up. But I'm okay with the other. I think that's a good way for a woman to wake you up. That's cool. She'd be like, you got to wake up. That works. I mean, I can dig it. I can dig it. Strong as hell. I got to get back on their cell tech and whey protons. So this is fitness channel. What's your stance on volume needed for hypertrophy? I have a lot of videos on that topic. Needed. So are we talking about optimizing, or are we talking, because I'm a coach. I am a full-time coach. So are we talking about optimizing with the rest of your lifestyle optimized around it? Or are you talking about the minimum amounts to see good muscle growth? Strong is correct. My stance is going to be somewhere between 6 sets to 20 sets a week. However, that's going to be dependent upon a large number of variables. Do I have clients who get phenomenal results? And you guys see some of them who only do 6 to 8 sets a week? Yes. They're usually very busy people. Do I occasionally have a client who does up to about 15 to 18? Yes, if they have an optimized lifestyle. I've seen that somewhere. I don't know what it is. Review. Could you explain to me what that is? I've seen pictures of it. I don't actually know what it is. I'm not a supplement guy. I think most supplements are a scam. But strong is pretty accurate. Let's say an average 9 to 5 average Joe who's on an upper lower split, and they don't have a completely optimized lifestyle. So average Joe, they're not chasing every last percentage. About 10 sets probably would be a good starting point of about where I would put them. Maybe about let's call it 8 to 12 sets a week, and then I would assess. Best weight loss drug, diet cardio. Right. Probably, so we'll call it an average of about 10 sets and then assess. Why do we do non-limit sets? I don't do this whole 5 rep and reserve nonsense. I don't coach that way. I don't train that way. I mean, I get leaving a rep in the tank on heavy deadlifts. Like you guys have seen me do 500 for 6 and be like, I think I could do one more. Let's just stop. All right. But I like to see one or 0 reps in reserve or failure. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're just goofing off, sure, you need 35 sets if you train like pussies like Dr. Brad and Dr. Mike and these people who train like complete pussies. Then obviously you need 30 sets because you did 25 warm-up sets. Therein lay the problem. You did 25 warm-up sets. This is called junk volume. So I assume we mean actual heart. Let's only count sets to where you're within one, at most pushing it 2 reps from failure. And that's the bleeding, like 2 is pushing it. That's the only sets we're counting. We don't count the others. You know. Have you ever thrown up? Yeah, I train fasted for a reason. Dude, I've vomited in the middle of workouts that I've recorded and just the camera's off. Numerous times when I ran conjugate with speed squats with bands, I vomited doing speed squats. Quite a few times. Especially when you're running, over 100 pounds, like 150 pounds of band tension on speed squats with 30-second breaks. Yeah, I puked. I train fasted for a reason. I find I don't have any GI tract distress. I've done those 5-mile runs fasted. Thank you. Just wondering. Yeah, 20. I've done this stuff and my arms didn't grow at all. Personally. No, dude. Quite frankly, I think 10 is a good baseline to assess from. Hey, normal memes. No, I've never heard of any of this stuff. Given your cognitive abilities, why do you not going to use it as a STEM? Because I wasn't interested in STEM. Hey, music, why are we asking deep personal questions like this? I have very personal reasons for things that were going on in my life why I didn't do certain stuff with my university and things. But these are personal questions. We've had this conversation before, music. Like, let's back off on that sort of stuff. And I know you're not understanding why that's a personal question. And that's okay. You don't have to. I had a lot going on. As big as your arms are, no. I was bigger in general in my late 20s than I am now. Not like I don't have pictures. So, no, this is not the biggest they've been. I've also torn my left bicep back in that time. Did I train differently or was I blasting gear? All right. Because I'm done with it and I didn't not get to go. So I think it was it 2003 or 2004, I tore my bicep. Yeah, it was doing work sets with 605 and doing 2-a-days and on a specific combination of things that is prone to causing it. And I had warning signs for weeks. Can you obtain? I doubt anybody's ever benched 500 natural. Pretty unlikely. Still reflecting on the Ian McCarthy news, do you think things would have been different if he accepted? Maybe. Like I said, I and a lot of other people tried to help Ian, and there was a point where he was working on getting his life in order. I did offer to coach him for free. We did a video call on it. He was on board at the end of the call still, and then he backed out. How long did it take for it to heal? I don't remember how many hours the surgery was to reattach it. So I don't know however long it took the surgeon to reattach it is how long it took to heal. Right? The doctor put it back on. No. The problem is that I had a later issue after. So the doctor had to go in and take a chunk of my bicep out about the size of my thumb. I got to see it. So, this was over 20 years ago, by the way. So, yeah. Right here, there's a scar where they cut me open. course, once the sun comes up, my arms look way bigger. It's like we're sitting here kind of with the dark, and then the afternoon ones, once the sun's up, everyone's like, your arms are like 2 inches bigger. Yeah. I think you'd be a good DPT. I don't know what that means. Oh, is Quang. I don't know who she is. Do you have any signs leading up to it? Oh, absolutely. I ignored them because I was in my 20s. And as you know, all men are stupid in their 20s. You talking about that guy who benches like 600 pounds, that Asian dude? Is that who we're thinking of? That name? So, Big Rob, I feel like banning you for just being that dumb. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but to even entertain the possibility that he's natural. Jared, we just were having that conversation. I'm on a replacement dose of tests right now. But obviously we literally just had that conversation that I tore my bicep doing work sets with 605 in my late 20s on a drug stack that is prone to causing tendon tears. So I'm on just a replacement dose of tests at this point in life. But you guys have seen me move some pretty heavy weights on just that. I mean, I do rep work with 315 on the bench, 500 on the deadlift. And I'm about to turn 49. Right. Warning signs: pain, tendonitis. Like my bicep tendons were hurting. My elbows were hurting at the time that occurred, but I was also in my 20s and dumb. And had a lot of stuff going on too at the time. I was dealing with some things on top of it. Yeah. Well, here they don't. So, Jerry, chime into one of the afternoon ones when I'm sitting here and you'd be like, oh, my arms are 2 inches. They look 2 inches bigger once the sun's up and I've eaten, and then I'll have all the veins everywhere. So usually I have veins the size of my pinky on my arms. But it's cold, it's dark, I haven't eaten yet. So I look completely different. So people, it's almost comical when you see the difference if you watch any of the afternoon live streams. Yeah, stress leads to higher injury risk. I've been going through some stuff up before that. Coach, on the subject of replacement dose, do you recommend TRT dosage levels for those who don't want to have low tests for enhanced benefits, or without, or is maintaining sides? That's right. You're in the UK, Callum. So you're in the UK. It's a completely different culture and laws and doctors. It is so hard to get TRT in your country, but steroids are legal. So dudes just literally go the other route. I know because I've had a lot of British clients, and their doctors won't do the TRT no matter what they try. So they just go black market and just do it themselves. Whereas where I live, it's so easy to get. It was Trent and Winstrel. There. Yeah, Strong called it with Winstrel. Like Winstrel's notorious for this. Trent is notorious for it too, though. But I had warning signs, Again, my own stupidity. I have no one to blame but myself on that injury. Like literally, I cannot blame anyone but my own stupidity. Hey, Callum, I need to take the drug talk way down, guys. We've got to stop. It kills my algorithm in here. So if you need TRT or advice like that, I do consultations for that. I literally do consultations all the time at $100 an hour in video calls. But we probably need to, it's going to kill my channel. I've got to stop. So I need to quit letting you guys pull me in that direction. So let's take it back away. It's literally taking money out of my pocket. So They don't like it in the lives. So their AI seems to detect it. So I got to stop. So I think that's a big factor. If you people are like, we're not seeing your lives hit, I think that might be why. I did a consultation with coach. Highly recommend, money well spent. Oh, yeah, that's right. Why does T do that to tendons? Music. I'm not going into all this. This is you just said you're not smart and didn't go to college. Are you going to understand my answer? Do you see the problem with the question? Are you going to ask me why specific anabolics? T doesn't. You're going to ask me why specific anabolics make tendons brittle. Are you going to understand the answer if I give it to you? Because it's going to involve structural cross bridges in the collagen proteins. Like, how much do you know about biology? Okay, long story short, I mean, that basically is a summary. Well, low estrogen is one answer. It has to do with the way it changes the structure of the cross bridges in the proteins through your tendons. It changes the physical structure in such a way that it makes them at a higher risk of shear stress breakage. With the way that it binds there. So that's with the stanozolol, which is also street name Winstrol. Tren is its own separate beast. So I get into all that. That's subject to a lot of debate. We just know that tren causing tendon ruptures and injuries, it does it at a very high rate. And that's anecdote primarily, but it is very, very strong anecdote. To the point where guys like Andy Bolton pretty much said every time he's ever gotten an injury, he was on that. He's like, every single injury I've ever had is when I was using it, because I've never had an injury or of any type when not on it. So, yes, some of them improve tendon health, right? So there you go, Callum. Yeah, Strong as Hell has done a consultation with me. So a lot of people who come through here have done consultations. I've sold consultations in the live streams. People hop in. They're like, yep. I don't think I've ever had anyone who was disappointed with their consult. Right. All right. Hey, Jared, I don't need to read your whole question out. What is your best way to acquire a prescription drug in the U.S.? So let's set aside everything you wrote and let's just reword it. Jared, what do you think the best way to acquire a prescription drug in the United States is? I think it's going to be a very simple answer. What would you think would be the simplest answer here? The best way? In fact, TRT is not a drug. TRT is a protocol. So there's only one answer. There is one answer and one answer only. Because you didn't say, how do I acquire a bottle of testosterone? So if it's not given to you by a doctor, it's not TRT. TRT doesn't mean you're taking testosterone. TRT means testosterone replacement therapy. That's the only way to get TRT is technically through a doctor. Otherwise, you're self-medicating. So what's your testosterone level at? So that's the problem. So what's your blood work say? What's your nanograms per deciliter? You know. So we might have a term. He's going to come back and say he's in the normal range. Well, yeah, you don't need TRT if you're in the normal range. So you just want to blast a little gear. Well, I'm not going to tell you how to source gear. I'm not going to tell you how to break the law in a live stream. Fair? So, yeah, we're not doing all that. Yeah, guys. So if you want to break the law, here's how you should do it. I'm going to break it down in clear violation of my terms of service as a YouTube partner. So let's not do all that. I haven't gotten blood work done, Dr. Sim. That's not what the doctors are going to tell you. So, okay, go to a T clinic. Jared, so instead of going to your GP, go to a testosterone clinic. What city do you live in? So I'm going to go retop everything up. I want you to give me all that info. So you're in Chicago. Bro, there's 15 T clinics in your city. Go to a testosterone clinic or a longevity clinic, done. Problem solved. Easy peasy. Bro, you're in a major metropolitan area. You will have no trouble finding a clinic within 20 minutes drive of you, 30 minutes at the most. That's pushing it. Who will sort you out? This is ridiculously easy. All right. You're not in Bloomington, Illinois here. All right. Haven't been jamming much. You're out. I feel better now. Thank you. All good, Jared. Yeah, we be jamming on the guitar, man. Which one now? Look on Trend and ChatGPT, it says some crazy stuff. Well, yeah. But I wouldn't use ChatGPT for much advantage of anything, to be fair. I'm not overly impressed. It's the primary argument tool people use to argue with me now, too. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you're wrong. ChatGPT is wrong. But no. I mean, Trend is definitely interesting. It can have some interesting side effects, to say the least. We've had at least one serious tuber lifter get up and basically say it turns you into a psychopath. For all practical purposes. That's why when people ask me, they're like, Coach, you should do some training. I'm like, you guys see how calm and chill I am. I'm known for my calm, chill zen. If I did a big blast of trend, assuming it didn't hurt my health badly, I would be running down the street, butt naked, wearing nothing but a Viking helmet, swinging a battle axe, screaming blood for the blood god, skulls for the throne of corn. You know, we don't need that. It's generally used in cattle. It was approved in one Western country for human use. France did it one time, actually. But generally speaking, yes, it is used specifically for cattle, not livestock in general, just cattle. Right? Or commode, right? Blood for the blood guy. I wouldn't describe it even remotely similar to alcohol in any way. As someone who's almost 7 years sober, who has used Tren in the past, I wouldn't describe them as similar at all. No. Alcohol makes you funny. It makes you tell jokes. It makes you love women, right? That's what all alcohol does to me. Like, so that's people who've been around me when drunk, women. Here's a word I've been told: you're adorable when you drink. That is a direct quote. Oh, girl, yo, man, he's so cute when he drinks. That's another quote. So that's what alcohol does. Tren is a totally different. Yeah. Right. So, liquid confidence. Yeah. I mean, I'm already confident though. That's part of the problem. That's the problem on alcohol. I will flirt with any and every woman that I meet. And when I drink, every woman is a beautiful goddess that fell straight from heaven. No matter what she looks like sober. All right. Coach, very good live yesterday afternoon. It's been a weird topic to discuss given your history. Yeah, it wasn't weird. It's just I do have feelings about the situation because I've been frustrated with Ian. I've got pissed at him over stuff. But at the end of the day, we did have a bit of a friendship. He's someone I've tried to help in the past. He is literally someone I donated money to, and I even at one time, it wasn't a big amount. It was a little tiny when he was struggling, like for one of his situations, like PayPal'd it when he was asking for help. It was okay. It was $50, guys. I mean, it's not massive amounts of money. Yeah, but I gave the dude $50 one time when he was really struggling. I've tried to help him. Are you on a platform with this Q&A style? Where you? No, I prefer not to, Jared. Jared, I keep these things. I mean, Strong, for example, he's done consultations. No, this is stuff I do for discussion, like private one-on-one conversations. Because I mean, I help clients with this too. So yeah, but I prefer not to. I really don't want to do a big public platform with all of it at this point. I would just rather not. Yeah, some good gear. I did have some up at one time. There's some, but a lot of that stuff is changing in the current climate, anyways. Music. We're going to build a time machine. So keep in mind context. we didn't have supercomputers in our pocket with access to the internet. If you wanted to get on the internet, you had a keyboard and a computer. Okay, so let's throw this into time period. So let's rewind it, because everyone did trend, bro. We just made it ourselves. The convenience of a anabolic that strong that you don't have to have imported or have your bro go down to Mexico to get, that you can make yourself with basic lab equipment from stuff you buy at the feed store, that is that potent, kind of was a major selling point. Yeah. Right. So let's go back. YouTube didn't exist. It had not been invented yet. Okay, so let's go back. YouTube had not been invented yet. This was OG stuff, bro. We used to go to Tractor Supply and used to buy the cattle implants and make them into sterile stuff. But let's get back over. I just said we're not going to do this gear talk. Let's stop. The idea that people have on things today are not what they had 20 plus years ago, right? I mean, let's go back over to that other topic. During that time period, if you only benched 275 and you did your first cycle, you're going to get made fun of. Because also keep in mind, think of the difference of gym culture. Best muscle rub brand. I don't know what that means. I don't even know what that means, dude. Keep in mind, I just said during that time period too, you couldn't bench 3 plates, squat 4 plates, deadlift 5 plates before you did a cycle. You were going to get made fun of in the gym. The dudes in the gym were straight up going to call you out. Well, I mean, I just gave you a perfect example, Jared. And that was everywhere. Low Blinder said it was the same in Ohio. It was the same here in Texas. It was the same for every group of people. It didn't matter what color, which group you came from. The rules were the rules. You did gear before you had a base, strength base like that, you were considered a weak, lazy pussy. That's the difference in the gym culture between then and now. There were no smartphones. So what do you think you did at the gym between sets? You talked to people, you socialized. The people who didn't want to socialize had a CD player on and headphones in. And yes, I said a CD player with a CD spinning. Right? You listened to music and you put a hat on if you didn't want to socialize. Otherwise, we talked to people. And there were more serious people in the gym because there weren't as many people. So it was a different culture when I was coming up. Way different culture. That was also the tail end of the Dorian Yates era. So how do you think all the bodybuilders trained? CrossFit has a very strong gym culture, maybe to the community. Yeah, it's a big deal. So again, let's think about the average lifting world with all the volume stuff again today. Dorian Yates had won the Olympia 6 times in the previous decade. Right? Everybody knew this. So how do you think the guys who wanted to get big trained? So let's take the really hardcore. The guys are like, I want to be jacked. I want to be the most jacked dude around. How do you think they trained? So think about the gym culture difference. Yeah. So if everybody knew that the 6-time Mr. Olympia Dorian Yates trained in the way that he trained, what do you think gym culture was like among all the bros who wanted to get big? Dorian Yates over here talking about 5 sets a week to failure. Big, heavy movements, get really, really strong and do force reps and rest pause and everything. How do you think everybody trained who wanted to get big? Do you think guys came in and played on a machine and left 3 reps in reserve? Do you think anybody trained like that? Keep in mind the social environment. So again, there was no smartphone. You're around people not on smartphones. There's a bunch of people who train hard and all, and it was in all the gyms. How do you think everybody trained? But no, wait, that's not optimal, right? But how do you think everyone trained? Did you come over, you're doing sets of incline bench or whatever. You're gonna have the other bros coming over. Yeah, they're gonna spot you. Come on, man, one more. Rack it. Raise a few seconds, man. You can do a rest pause rep, man. 5, 6 seconds later, you're doing 225 or whatever. They're gonna have you unrack it. Let's do one more rep. You realize this is how everybody trained. Dudes would come over, spot, they would psych you up. Everyone was your hype man. You're over doing weighted pull-ups. Dudes are over. Come on, man, one more. Don't be a pussy. That is what the gyms were like. You're over doing weighted pull-ups, man. You reach failure, you have somebody come up. Come on, man, one more. You got this. When you just reached failure or right at failure. Did everyone just, that's how it was. So what do you think the difference in gym culture now versus then? Why do you think dudes got so big? Everybody was strong. Everybody got pushed. I mean, you're overtraining, dude. You barely knew in different circles, depending on the times you went through. It's like, it was different, dude. You're like, I remember having a good workout. Blaha, you over here? You want to come? We're all going to the Chinese buffet. You want to go? You know, it's like, and everyone's slamming their protein shakes. Dude, we all had at least 50 grams of protein post workout. We believed in the anabolic window back then. You had to have it. It was, and even the beginners, everybody, it was necessary. You wasted your workout if you didn't get at least 50 grams of protein before you left the gym. Yeah. Render says GPP in the youth today is far behind me. Yeah, and that's true. Well, they didn't do as much sports and they didn't grow up with it. So this generation didn't grow up with a PE class. You had no mandatory exercise in school. Let that sink in. We have a whole generation now that has grown up that were not required to exercise in school. Why do you think we have less GPP? You're allowed to be sedentary. Yeah, we were required. We had a PE class every day. If you weren't going to do PE or gym class, depending on it was later called gym class, you had to have a medical exemption. Your doctor had to give you an exemption. Right. We had gym class. We had to exercise. We had to run. We had to do push-ups. Yeah, we had PE. Right. So we had all this stuff. Like these were not optional classes. This was part of the school curriculum during my childhood, my entire childhood. We played sports. We did jumping jacks. We did running. We did volleyball, basketball, baseball. Yeah, you got detention if you miss those. Yeah. So Scott's right. We had to play sports, but it was general fitness. So you ran, you did push-ups, you did jumping jacks. We did different sports. They rotated sports and stuff throughout the year. So we rotated. So you were basically CrossFitting. You were basically hybrid athletes and CrossFitters from kindergarten up till you graduated. Yeah, we had a weightlifting class for a little while in my middle school with free weights. It was just for the boys though. So why do you think this generation is? They're not required. It's no longer mandatory. No, I don't know about that desert. I'd like to see resistance, but the thing is, you still did all these basic things. It was jumping jacks, running. You know, no, I didn't do any distance running then. I took it up later. Yeah. All through high school, though, I chopped a lot of firewood. Though, like we were living up in the mountains for a few years, I chopped all the firewood. It was just one of my chores, but I liked doing it. So my dad used to just get tons and tons of it. So I chopped all the firewood for the house and had a weekly amount I did. Yeah, but we did sports on top of sport. Like, and it was like 45 minutes or whatever every day at school. I used to bust axe handles. So my dad bought me he would buy 20 packs of the axe handles so I could reattach them. I used to break them. I don't think schools still have PE. No. My modem is flashing. Did we lose a connection? Yeah, you can avoid it. So it's a factor. I wonder if a lack of mandatory gym class, I don't know if it does. But yeah, we were required to do sports. So it's like when people say stuff like, no, I didn't go play any sports, but we all did sports as part of school growing up. Right? Chopping wood like the legend George Foreman, rest in peace, Houston native, right? But yeah, I did lots of firewood chopping all through high school for a couple of years. I'm sure all that stuff is why I had a decent squat when I started, because then I lost weight, but I had also done industrial mechanic work, branch work, a little bit different. That's why when I started lifting, I was already squatting over 200 pounds as a complete novice lifter. Which is, again, as a coach, man, coaching this younger generation is tough if they didn't build a base. Ted is not my average client in their 20s. Yeah. And that's a big problem. This is a big problem for me as a coach with a lot of my clients in their 20s. They're fragile. And I mean physically fragile. It's scary. Do you know how easily hurt and pulled they get on light weights? Like, do you know the number of clients I've had in their 20s who pull muscles with one plate per side on the bar on squats? Who've been working out for a year already before they hired me? It's scary. I've been dealing with this for years. It's scary, guys. This is what happens when we don't have any PE or gym class or sports growing up. It's mandatory for kids. We get young men who've been working out a year and they put one plate per side on the squat bar and they have no stability with it and they pull stuff. They strain their groin. Their back hurts, even with good form. So it's like, how much different would that have been? You see what form we have power, right? We grew up with gym class. All through high school, I chopped wood. You know, everyone thought I played football and lifted weights before I did. You know, during his presidency, Barack Obama oversaw the end of the competitive presidential fitness test for school children, replacing with a new program that focused on person. Yeah. And you don't think this has been a factor for us as a society? People were growing up sedentary. You weren't allowed to. Plays fitness with transgender, right? This is a problem. It's a major problem. And then as a coach, I deal with it. You know, when you're coaching these younger guys, it's like, Jesus. You know, right now, this generation of guys, when you're coaching them, if they did no sports separately because they didn't have PE class and all this stuff, you know how hard it is to even get to a 300 squat for these guys? I've got one now. I've had him for over a year. The same sort of background, just trying to build his squat up. He benches as much as he squats. I spend so much time just trying to get his squat up. But before he got into this stuff, he did nothing athletic, no sports, no exercise of any type. No music, apparently not. I'm still trying to get him to a 225 squat. He can do 5 reps right now. I've got him up to 160. He can do 5 reps now, finally. This is literally the result of a generation growing up with no exercise. They get to 23 or whatever, and then you try to build them, and it's like, we're starting from zero. They might as well be 7, 8 years old at that point. It is not the same. So when I put all the novice program, think about the era. Yeah, dudes grew up different. So it was no big deal for me to say, yeah, they hit a 315 in their first year. It depends on the person, Jared. I use both. I train both throughout the year. I coach both styles. You know. I mean, last week I did high bar for myself. I did 405 for 7 reps high bar. But this is the nature of it. It's just, so then what then do we do in the lifting world? It's like, I'm looking at this going, and this is unfixable. This whole generation already grew up this way. You know? Well, it's not fixable for them. We got a lot of building to do. So it's fixable for this next generation, but we got to get kids fit again, they've got to be exercising. This is what I wanted to see from the Maha movement that we didn't get. This is why I'm not a fan of RFK at this point. There was a whole lot of talk. I don't see our children exercising. I still see refined sugar in the schools. It takes longer, but it adds years to the process. Now kids think they need to juice at 17 years old. Exactly. And we go back over Bocephus. And this is what I was saying. And I want to be clear. I am not the only personality on YouTube and other places to have said this. Loveliner 100% backed me. He straight up backed me by name on it. Said, look, Blaha's right. Our generation, you didn't do steroids till you, like my dad bod strength standard was the baseline natural. And everyone thinks I'm crazy for putting it out. Our generation, if you didn't reach those numbers before your first cycle, you were made fun of. It was normal. It was normal. You don't deadlift 500 pounds and you work out and you claim you want to get big. So what a weird thing. And remember, the Loveliner is a perfect example because he's pure bodybuilding. The bodybuilders expected you to be a bodybuilder. You were expected to deadlift 500 pounds in that generation before you did a cycle. So when you'd occasionally have a writer for the magazine say, oh, I don't like the squat, bench, and deadlift, it was weird. That was a controversial take. When you would have someone get up like Bob Chicarello or whatever in Flex magazine say, oh, I'm opposed to bodybuilders doing the squat, bench, and deadlift, right? It was a controversial take. People are like, oh, what's he talking about? Whoa, hold up. What? That was a controversial take. Dudes would be reading it, shaking their head in the gym. You see what this Bob Chicarello, he's saying we don't need to squat, bench, and deadlift. Dudes over here, that sounds like some pussy shit to me. Yeah. Context. Now today, these kids, they think they need juice at 17. And our generation, you better hit those numbers before you do your first cycle. Totally different world. Like the lifting world today, just the regular gym culture because of the internet and these kids, it's totally different. It's been pussified. It has been pussified. So people think my attitude here is unusual. Like, no, my training attitude comes from the lifting culture I grew up in. It's a generational thing. And if you don't realize that, go listen to even, say, take C.T. Fletcher, the generation who taught us. So C.T. Fletcher is a perfect example. So C.T. Fletcher is a textbook example of the dudes who influenced my generation and told us how to train. He's not an outlier. That is just how the old gym bros were. Yeah, Kevin Lever, I'm benching 5 plates before the Olympia. Now a lot of dudes won't even lift heavy weight. So again, understand the difference. Now these kids want to play on it, and they literally have people, oh, we just do 30 sets on machines. But they don't train. They don't train. So like I said, the culture was different. Like the other dudes would push you. Like if you came into the gym and said, I'm trying to get big, all the OGs were going to push you. And I'm talking the 40, 50-year-old dudes. They be coming in pushing you. That was a one more rep. What do you mean? You don't stop on those weighted pull-ups. Everybody benched. Everybody squatted. Well, I had to. You got to gain that because I didn't push out. All right. One of the OGs is on my Facebook friends list too. I added him. He chimes on my stuff every now and then. He was one of the OGs. All right. And at that particular gym, that dude had the best physique in there, like straight up. Not the one from the other. I was talking about the other older dude, but at that gym where I was at, this guy on my Facebook now had the best physique in the gym. He was like 10 years older than me, maybe 12 years older. But he didn't play around. Like he'd be over there squatting, benching. He did a lot of incline, a lot of weighted chin ups, a lot of squat, a lot of bench press. You know. But he was surprised when he saw that where I'm still at my age. He's just like, damn, dude. And Big Jason, you're still thought it was comical. He's shocked that I'm still moving these sort of weights. It's just like, because that's someone who knew me 25 years ago. Someone told me take it easy. I train 2 cents. Yeah, man. People are like that. And I'm not even trying to sound like an old dude or the kids today. No, I mean, I'm literally just watching it. I'm like, dude, geez, it's not the same. Hey, cutie, just stop. We already know you're a troll. We already know this is not a real person. You're going to lie about the deadlift. I'm going to get rid of you. Just an FYI. He snapped his back deadlifting. Jesus Christ. No, he didn't. Keep in mind, we know you already made this troll account, and now you're going to try to diss the deadlift in my stream and make up lies. Come on, bro. I'm going to do some heavy deadlifts today. Gym machines are starting to cost a lot per month. Not really. They've never been that bad. 40 to 60. That's been normal forever. What do you mean? Do you think that's a new thing? $40 to $60 a month for a good gym? Do you think that's a new price? So in other words, it hasn't gone up at all. Gym memberships have not increased in price in 20 years, is what you're telling me. The same price. What do you mean hole in the wall is not always a crowd? What do you mean? That's sometimes the best ones. Coach UK has gone up though. All right. But even then, guys, you got to prioritize. People will spend money on stupid stuff and then talk about a gym membership. 15 a month. What sort of gym are you going? You got to be going to Planet Fitness or something. Man, that's wild. $15. Yeah, that's wild, man. Because I used to have like the Super Sport 24-hour all the time. I had that for years, always as an option, and it was on there forever. And I think it was like 50 a month or something for years and years. Might have been more because I had access to everything around the country. I think Iron City I was paying like 55 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Iron City was like 55, I think, or 50. Why are you trying to pay cash? Music, what are you doing? Music's like, I try to pay cash for it all. Do everything cash. What do you do for a living, music? All right. I pay 30 a month, but I get swimming too. You know. I mean, since all my business is online, it's not like I get cash for anything I do. You know. And not like this is even an option. It's impossible to cancel. Now, canceling gym, man, that's a whole other thing, isn't it? Trying to cancel gym memberships sometimes, right? Sounds like bad excuses to me, man. What are you, a drug dealer? Exactly, that's what I'm thinking. I want to be able to pay cash, man, for the gym, right? I need to pay cash for everything. It's like, man, what are you doing for a living? I don't know. Now, he might do some sort of under the table construction or something. You never know. But it sounds like it. Drug dealers and strippers always got lots of cash. I know because I've coached strippers. Hilarious. Like I've trained strippers in person, multiple of them. Oh, they always got lots of ones. They all got a stack of ones. Oh, they'll be funny with you. Sorry, I'm just laughing. I was one of them I was coaching because she was a friend of my ex. I was coaching some of her friends and she's paying me. She's like drops a bunch of ones on me to pay me for the coaching. She's like, Daddy, I got your money. Oh, you handed me a pile of ones. Like, oh my God. And just call me daddy. It's like daddy coach. I don't ridiculous. Ridiculous. Oh my God. Mm. Good thing in Laredo, Texas, most of the gyms take cash, but I don't live there anymore. All right. Probably is about time to wind this down, though, guys. We've been in here a little while. This has been slow. But the funny thing with all these lives, I always get tickled that I know my real haters, they're going to have to watch all of it looking for the juicy stuff. How many hours of their time am I wasting? Oh my God. I actually get tickled just at the idea. All right. But about time to wind this down, guys. I love you guys, and I'm out. Yeah.